This is Himmelsdorf. It is one of the OG maps in World of Tanks Blitz, and it's actually one of my favorite maps to play on. If you're in a heavy tank, you got a lot of berms hidden all over the map that give you excellent position for hiding your hull and using your strong turret armor. If you're in a medium, you've got a lot of different real estate on the medium side as well. I usually like to chill on these little side areas, but you can also go to the rails if you want. You can go all the way wide and try and use this hull down pit in the back. There are a lot of different positions that you can work anywhere on this map, even in a tank destroyer. You've got a really good spot all the way at the back of the rails or at the back here, and if you make your way to the other side of the map, tank destroyers can once again work over here and use their tanks very easily and shoot people coming down the road. Himmelsdorf is just, in my opinion, one of those well-balanced maps, and I think it's time for an upgrade. And in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the new Himmelsdorf that Wargaming has been working on. So let's take a brief look at the current Himmelsdorf so we can just get a good idea of how this map is structured, and then when we take a look at the new one, you can see how it has actually drastically changed. So on heavy side, it's really simple. You have one of two routes to go. You either have in front of me to the right, or you can go a little bit to the left. To the left, you've got this big mound of rubble, and you can chill here. You can try and shoot the TDs in the back if they're sitting there, and you can also use this spot hull down to shoot the heavies in front of you. Then you can go over, try and capture the base, get hull down over here, push the heavies off, make sure you're not getting flanked, and that's obviously the same thing for over here. You've got another rubble pile which you can work here, sit hull down, but you can also get a bit more aggressive if you want, get hull down over here. The only problem with this spot is if people overpoke over here, you can obviously have some problems with your situations. Mid is for the most part useless. I mean, occasionally if you need to, you'll jump into one of these dips if your team is falling apart and you have like nowhere to go, but usually going into those dips just doesn't work. Most people don't go mid. You got a couple berms here and there where I will occasionally go early game if I'm trying to shoot somebody in the crossing, and then you have medium side. Now medium side, you got a couple different spots. I usually like to go here, gives you an early game crossing shot on any heavies or mediums tank destroyers that like to cross, and you can hit people that cross the rails over here as well. Then there are the people that go mid. Now going mid is fine as well. You can side scrape off of this little train car. You can get some shells into your opponents and spot them when they're going into the train yard. Then you can maneuver over here. You got more shots that you can do, more side scraping. You can go wide and you can go low down here. You can get hull down. You can try and shoot at people in the side. There's really a lot of different positions that you're able to work on Himmelsdorf, and even though it is one of the smaller maps in the game, I personally think it's one of the more well-balanced ones. So let's pull up the new Himmelsdorf. And here it is, the fully reworked Himmelsdorf. Now what you're going to notice is that Wargaming essentially put the World of Tanks PC Himmelsdorf map into Blitz. You're especially going to notice that on the other side of the map. We can take a look at medium side and just what a drastic difference medium side has. No longer are you going to have the train yards where you're shooting across. You have these massive stretches of medium side where you have so many different positions. First of all, we can see that there's ramps in front of me where my mouse is at, and these ramps do appear to at least require some gun depression, which might be good for mediums like the 62A or 121 if they can hide their hull and only show their turret on the ramps. We've also got the same berms that I personally like to work all the way on the corner over here, so you'll still be able to work that position, which will be really nice. And something else I noticed is over here, it appears that that hull down pit has become a lot larger. And it means that any vehicles that do get in here might have a really good spot to shoot at anything over on this area, anything over here. Might be a really good spot to mess around with after the rework. So we can see there's a lot of things. I actually really like the way this looks though, because it seems like if the heavies do have to go to medium side, there are so many more positions they are able to work and positions themselves that are going to do a lot better. We can see all the way in the back as well, there's much better spots for tank destroyers with this big old pile here. You can easily squeeze a TD back there and hopefully get some good shots out. So yeah, on the medium side, I am really liking how this looks, and we can kind of get a better overview here. Again, we got that hull down spot all the way on the side. You can see they just kind of stretched out how Himmelsdorf is. So there's a whole new area in the middle that kind of didn't exist before, where you've got train cars and things that you'll be able to work. You might be able to maneuver your way through the buildings here with a bit of cover. I'm actually really excited. I think this looks fantastic. So now we break into more of the town-sided area. Now this is all very similar to the current Himmelsdorf we have. I mean, that's it. The town area is done. We've made it over to the heavy side. Now heavy side, as you'll notice, is similar. We've got the two alleys right here, breaks off to the left and to the right. And as you'll notice, we have the same 3 berms on heavy side, and we got the same 2 berms on the left of the heavy side. So very similar stuff there. But you will notice something. There is a road all the way to the left side of the map that goes up a big ol' hill. And yes, this is basically the same road that World of Tanks PC has. Wargaming is doing some big changes to this map, and there are 2 different ways to get up the road. As we can see, there's one here, and there's also one very, very wide. I'm not sure which will be the best way to go, but essentially, this is how PC works now. There's going to be a giant hill where you can drive your mobile heavies and mediums, it might seem, over towards this side of the map. Now, the problem is medium side going to be a wash, because if I can drive my medium over here, you know, let's say I have an E50M or a T62A, and I get it hauled down on this, you know, pile of rubble, and I start shooting at the heavies that try moving up over here, and I start shooting at the heavies that try moving up over here. The question is, why should I drive my medium all the way over to medium side if this spot exists? And if I go over here, does that mean medium flank's going to fall apart and there's nothing I can do about it? So there's a lot of questions I have that we're going to have to figure out when it comes to this map and the overall design of it. But as we can see, Himmelsdorf is getting some massive reworks. This is by far going to be the biggest rework for any map I have seen yet in the game, which is really cool. I'm excited for this. I am definitely excited for the hill, because if Wargaming does it right, it can definitely add a level that Himmelsdorf has kind of needed. Right now, the problem with Himmelsdorf is the fact that the map is too small, and it allows people on the medium flank to instantly flank if there's no resistance on heavies or mediums. And same thing for the heavy side. If the heavy flank doesn't have enough people holding, the heavies just push right through, and if they're smart enough, they'll flank behind and get the mediums absolutely dunked and the tank destroyers dunked. And that's kind of what we have happening in the current Himmelsdorf, is the tanks just get flanked very quickly if they are one-sided games. But now, with the way that this map has been changed, I'm hoping that with this larger area and more real estate, it is going to allow for the games to be much, much more even-sided. And we can see a better view here of the overall heavy side. There are a lot of different positions, so you can obviously work the downhill area, and you can work the uphill area. Now, my guess is I'm going to be constantly working the uphill area if I can. If I'm in an E100 or a super heavy, I'll probably go down low, but for the most part, I'll be going up top the hill. The only problem I have with this map is that it seems like you don't have enough heavies to work both spots. You only have about 3, sometimes 4 heavies on your team. And, well, what are you going to do? Send 2 heavies down low, 1 up top? Like, there's too many areas to work, in my opinion, for the little amount of heavies we currently have in the game. Maybe if Wargaming increased the amount of tanks that can be on each side to 10, it would change that. But as of right now, it's going to be weird to see how this side of the map is played with so many different positions to work. It's kind of like how Molenbeek has so many different areas, except these are completely gated off from each other. Essentially, if the enemy team goes town, all you have to do is go up, around, and get behind them here and start farming them. So, we'll see. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and let me know what you guys think about the current Himmelsdorf and its overall rework. I'm quite excited, but I guess we will have to see. Let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As always, you won't find this content on any other YouTube channel, so if you want to see more like this, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.